I have a question for you because you got into, being an artist. I want to know, like, I feel like people have very narrow expectations for people who are artists. We're in a season, you mentioned October 7th. This isn't the only thing you speak out about, but obviously you've been vocal about Palestine. You've been vocal about other liberation kind of issues. And what do you say to people who kind of don't understand why you are speaking to this as an artist? Or do you connect those things in your mind, like your calling as an artist to your calling to be about liberation? Are those connected for you?
They're intrinsic. They're intrinsic. I mean, essentially, to me, artistry it's a God skill. You're creating something from nothing, right? Which is what people attribute to the creator, right? Just
Mhm.
making a thing out of nothing. Um, and so there's a responsibility in it, I believe, and there's a alchemy and a magic in it. And if you have access to that, then you have a connectivity to like the us of it all. And I really do believe we're all connected. And I don't mean that in just like an ethereal, like,
Mhm.
like my brothers and sisters, we're all connected. Like
Mhm.
we're all made of the same things. We're all made of atoms. I think for some reason, some of us are evolved in other ways. Um, like I've definitely come to believe there's like basically two kinds of people who crave power and people who uh, protect peace.
Mhm.
And I really feel like you can bifurcate it because like you can even look at someone they're not trying to be like a dictator, but they're trying to like dictate your life.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, like I've dated people like that where it's like, as much as you say that you don't want to argue, like you ain't doing nothing to protect this peace.
Mhm.
You actually want to dominate me. Like that's actually what you want, right? Whereas like if you really were about protecting peace, our pathway to this issue it would be different, right? So I say all of that to say though that in this particular situation, as any other situation, like I feel that if I have a God skill and I am able to see us on this whole other plane, then I am responsible for like playing as much of a role as possible in protecting humanity.
Mhm.
Now, some people might be like, Amanda, are you protecting humanity when you clap back in the Instagram comments? It's like, yes,
Yes. Yes.
actually.
Actually.
Yes. And then I've had people literally say to me, like, you clapping back taught me that I could clap back. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't know, I never felt like I could respond to people like saying funny style stuff to me. Like, I felt like I needed to be that quote unquote bigger person meant silence. And it's
Yes.
like, well, no, sometimes sometimes that's the case, but other times it can mean like, no, you have a bigger access to vocabulary to shut this down.
Mhm.
So I consider it to be the two parts together. And as an artist, I feel like I haven't really gotten to do that through artistry in this season, which I think has really been detrimental to me
Mhm.
emotionally. And it's forcing me to examine other pathways for expression.
And I feel like people have a very specific expectation of artists to be like it's a fake kind of high road. You want them to be sages, these
Yes.
altruistic,
Oh my gosh. Like
never
people,
angry.
someone the
And
other day was like, I really was very surprised that you laughed at Alicia Keys's note, her misstep and the piano in the Super Bowl. And I'm like, y'all really don't know me. Y'all really don't know me. I'm like, why was that off for you? Like, first of all, I'm also a comedian and that was hilarious. So that's hilarious. That right there is hilarious. Also, the theory that like she lost her voice because she legitimately infringed upon these people's relationship. Like, come on. I can't. Also, shout out to Mashonda, that's my girl. But I can't like just, they want me as an artist to like rise so high above, like that's so obvious. So
mhm.
I can't. I'm not that girl, Cole.
And you
But
end
I
up
will read you. Your
making
book gets us there though. Your book
Oh,
is very high vibrational and very like, I am above the fray. I am above the
thank
fray.
you. I don't feel like I am, but yeah. No, I think it's good that that we resist that though, because I think you end up making bad art when you are trying to be overly good, you know? It's
Mm.
because it's not really goodness you're approaching. It's like it's complacency, it's status quo, it's and
Yes.
I have to really I'm, more quiet, a little bit more soft-spoken person. I had to push myself to
Mm,
to to be angry on the page, to allow other things to complicate my
really?
words as opposed to just kind of the calmness, tranquility, and so people are always like, "Oh, are people mean in your DMs? Do they, like, cuss you out, and you do get death threats?" And honestly, not much. I think mostly people
Mm-hmm.
leave me alone because 'cause I'm quiet, but when I do, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I've written something that matters. I'm like it's become this weird thing. I'm like, "Oh, you must have said something that actually
Like
that's
hit.
actually raw in some way, that actually." Yeah, so I'm trying to pull myself out of the, overly the fake good, the fraudulent
Well, I was gonna
good,
ask, like, do you
lofty.
feel like that was developed as a mecanism of like
Oh
protection of some sort?
oh, yeah, for sure, I think. I mean, when I speak about anger and specifically, absolutely, I think I'm divorced from my anger because I didn't wanna be reduced to it. No one does, no,
Mm.
and so I
Yep.
think
Yep.
I went in the
I
opposite
get that.
direction and tried to be as disarming
Placid.
and placid, yes, as possible. I don't, "Don't look at me." I'm not
I
I'm
mean, you've said it in this
anti-conflict.
interview, like I was, like I was in class, I wasn't answering questions, I wasn't
Yes.
talking, I was just like ordinary, etc.
Yep, I wanted invisibility. That's the only imagination I had for myself was how do I, um, feed myself and be as invisible as possible? Yeah, so I have to push against that, and I feel like, again, it's Black literature that takes me there. It's the unapologetic nature of kind of anger on the page. I mean, not even just fiction. Again, Audre Lorde, she has this essay, Uses of Anger, that I basically read once a week at this point. I'm like, anger is sacred, anger is holy. I need to tap into this. I don't wanna live one-dimensional or out
Hmm.
I don't wanna live out of people's one-dimensional expectations for me.
With this book, where do you think, and this is just, today, this is just on this day that we're recording this, where do you feel like the weight of these words has carried you forward to?
Mm. I think it's carried me into the collective in a way that writing for so long felt like a solitary endeavor. It felt and my life
Mm.
in many ways, being shy, being more private, I feel like this project specifically has reminded me that writing is never a project of solitude, even if it's the ancestors, if it's, my sister calling and making sure I've eaten that day and I'm not just in front of a screen, it's and or the people who follow me on Black liturgies, that it really is sustained
Mm.
in the arms of the collective. Creativity is sustained in the arms of collective, and any kind of imagination for liberation, I think, can only be practiced together. That's where it's taking me, out of isolation. Yeah.
You just gave me a word. People, we are having real discussions in a real time. And you know what? It'll be real whack for you to only get this little snippet. So you can get the whole combo over there at my Patreon.
I want to believe that there aren't,
Mhm.
you know, millions of people who are all liars. I wanna believe there's something there in different spiritual expressions, and so I choose, I guess, to be a person of faith or a person of spirituality because I feel a kind of responsibility to honor all aspects of the human experience.